We are very excited to bring you this next spring concert, which includes Beethoven's Mass in C and Ralph Vaughan Williams' 5 mystical songs. This concert is really exciting for a couple of reasons, but the primary reason being Beethoven's Mass in C individually. This piece is really interesting for a couple of reasons. The primary reason being that when it was written for the Esterházy family in Austria. Of course, before Beethoven, Joseph Haydn was the primary composer for the family and lived at the palace. And they decided, once Haydn had retired, to bring in Beethoven to write a mass for the prince. Upon its first performance, they hated the mass. It was given poor reviews, it was poorly rehearsed, poorly performed, and it all in all was not up to the standards that they'd been given by Haydn. Although it has been written by Beethoven in letters to publishers and in diaries that this piece was actually one of the pieces that he wrote that he was the most fond of. He was adamant about it being published and being released to the public, and he was very proud of the Mass that he wrote. It is also a preemptive writing to something that comes later in Beethoven's life, which is the grand Missa Solemnis, which is more commonly performed. And so we can consider the Mass in C almost a miniature version of the Missa Solemnis. A lot of the same writing, a lot of the same textural and contrapuntal writing that we see in the Missa Solemnis, we see in the Mass in C. But primarily, it's the relationship between the soloists and the orchestra and the soloists and the choir that is most significant in terms of style that we see coming out of the classical period into the Romantic period.